This broadcast of As the Wasteland Burns was brought to you by Galaxy News Radio and our sponsors at Vaultec. Better living underground.
And hey everybody, welcome back for another episode of As the Wasteland Burns. We are currently on the outskirts of, based upon what the proprietor of the Fud stores told you, to be the town of Venetti. Back in the day, it might have been a looker, but right now it doesn't look like much of anything. There's a stick of wood or lumber or a metal higher than 3 feet off the ground. You'd be surprised.
It's rather desolate.
It is the entire area, even with the piles of ash debris and such that they have blown around. There's very little for it to catch against or to build up against. There's a few piles here. You guys are currently.
Does my Pip-Boy say we're in the general area of the coordinates?
Your Pip-Boy has you in. Yes, it does have you in the general area.
So there should be an entrance somewhere? Question mark?
In theory. You're currently at what I would describe to be as long range. Looking down into the town, and you're on just a very small rise. Yeah, and again, that's subjective as to it's not even couldn't even be considered a hill. Town itself has been blasted off the face of the earth. What you can see, though, is there appears to be 4 separate encampments in the area directly ahead of you. First 2 a little. So, the first 2 closest to you, you can see a couple. Well, sorry, first one closest to you. So Sam, Saval, and Sally. When you look through your scopes of your rifles, you can see that there are several very small, or like tarps just drug across stuff just to have somebody to sleep under. But you can see that there are 4 very large gray-skinned humans. Sorry. The weird thing is, one of them appears to be dressed in a canary yellow sundress. The area directly below, which is inside the square here, you can see there's 4 additional very large gray-skinned humans. These are all wearing one-piece jumpsuits. They appear to have red and white stripes on there. Several have large, fluffy buttons on the front. 1 or 2 of them are wearing very large conical hats. You can also see that there is probably a 4-man tent set up. That's also red and white.
Are these guys similar to the group of 4 that we saw? I mean, the group of 3 that we saw running around in the wasteland?
No.
That I said were pretending to be a car?
No, that was 12 ghouls that were doing the conga line.
Oh. Wait, they were doing the conga?
Yep. Yeah, there was one ghoul was holding onto the thing. And as I said, they were moving in unison. Dun 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 dun. Turn their head. Dun 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 dun. Turn their head. Dun 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 dun. Turn their head.
I'm sorry we missed out on that. No.
Yeah, but that's okay.
Yeah. Okay.
The 4 group that you can see back here, that is group of humans, wastelanders, settlers, however you want to look at it. You can see that they're men and women, some kids running around and the like. They have a small, up to your top of your shin, bottom of your knee, high wall around their entire encampment. There are tents thrown up here and there. They are based close to one of the water towers that is not standing. So the actual tank itself is sitting there on the ground, crumpled in. But there may still be water inside, which is why that they're there. This one here seems to be. Oh, that's the one that seems to be an anomaly. You can see an encampment. You can see a couple tents in and among the fields that are there, and some of the hard scrabbed earth. A cook fire that's still burning. Don't see anybody at all. Nobody walking about. There's nobody in the area. Every once in a while, the wind will catch one of the tent flaps. It'll flutter open and close. Nobody's bothered to try to seal it down to keep the dust and grit from getting in there. Gone. They all just up and left or whatnot. So, Miss Gray, where would you recall? Wish to go down and talk to any of the three groups, investigate the camp, or go on further around the area and possible location at the.
Yeah, I think I'd like to get closer. We're still long distance, right? Because they all saw that info through the scopes.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to get a little bit closer.
Angling one or the other, or just straight ahead?
Probably the group closest to us.
This one here?
Yeah, in whatever sort of sneaky-ish way we can get there. I don't want to just advertise that we're coming. I just want to get a little bit closer, see if maybe we can even overhear what's going on, figure out who these people are.
Okay, just two mitigating factors, but you can try. You have the Prack Ramen and Snake.
What do you mean you have the Pack Brahmin and Snake?
Well, Pack Brahmin are, not exactly stealthy, and Snake, I'll be perfectly honest with you, I don't think you have a sneaky bone in your body.
Snake just looks at his body.
So you all see Snake over there, apparently having an inner monologue with something and checking himself out. And was like, "Yep, that's me." I know. Ain't I a fine-looking snake?
I have my radio back, right?
Yes, you do.
Maybe I should go, and I will relay to Snake and his full of bone body what I see.
Taking any of the 3 S's with you, or are you just going yourself?
Sam and Saval, and even Sally Sue, you guys can. Well, how's Sally Sue doing? Has she pretty much recovered, or is she still a little stiff from her injuries?
She's still hurting. She's walking with a bit of a limp.
Okay.
I just want to point out that was
she's
4
healed.
S's.
She just has the bones are not fully mended, if you will.
Well, I still feel a little bit guilty because I asked her to come with me last time when she got hurt. But if Sam and Saval, if you guys can, keep an eye out, watch me through your scopes, that'd be great.
I give a thumbs up.
I'll go. And Snake can count his bones.
I'm not counting bones.
He keeps counting. He keeps stopping after 1.
But I will point out that was 4 S's.
Yes. Well, we were already. She already mentioned Snake, so I said the other 3. Yes, I did point. You know,
Oh,
you
Well,
were
technically-
you were acknowledged first before
Well-
the other three.
well, that would
I
that would
want
that
to
would be
acknowledge that
5.
there are technically 4 S's, not including Snake.
That would be 5 S's.
Sally Sue is 2 words.
2 S's.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
win this one, am I?
No.
No.
There are 5 S's.
There are only 4.
And Gray leaves while you all fight.
She's like, yeah. I
Don't need to be here
can
for
find a
this.
better group of friends.
Maybe some of the super mutants will team up.
Okay, so you approach the group directly in front of you. You can see that there are 4, and you've seen these in creatures before, super mutants standing in. One of them is dressed. As you get closer, you can see it has a long, flowing blonde hair, probably about shoulder length, and is wearing a canary yellow summer dress. You can see the other 3 are kind of sitting around. They're at the fire, poking it, with watching whatever they're cooking. Mole rat. It's not C2, but it appears to be a mole rat. Roasting over the fire.
Barbaric.
Are they talking?
Yeah, you can hear that they're talking. The one with the blonde hair keeps referring to herself in the third person as Goldilocks. The other 3 are it's obviously a man talking in a very high-pitched, squeaky voice, referring to the other 3 as Mama Bear, Papa Bear, and Baby Bear.
Yeah, that's not weird.
No, not at all.
So there's 3, 4,
4 total.
4 total. These are definitely super mutants.
Oh, 100%. And every once in a while, Baby Bear chimes in, and you hear him say, "But I want to join the circus." Your Goldilocks say, "But you're too young to join the circus, Baby Bear."
Yeah, that's weird.
Not disturbing at all.
I mean, compared to some of the things we've seen in the Wasteland, not too bad.
What about the stuff? So you said they're sitting at like a tent, maybe a campfire in front of the tent.
Yeah. It's just a large, looks like a large drop sheet, like a painter's drop sheet, stretched across some of the remaining beams from a building, just to have like something to crawl underneath to get out of the weather. Other than you don't even see weapons.
Yeah, they don't seem very aggressive.
No,
Doesn't
Kind of-
appear that they're hiding anything.
kind of pathetic actually when you stop and look at them.
Can I make it over to that other tent that you were saying, like the tarp wasn't tied down and
Well,
kind of flapping in the wind?
that is this camp up here.
Oh. What's the distance to that camp?
The close from where you're at would probably be. You could do it. It might take you a couple minutes to get there. Maybe 10 minutes
Okay.
tops. And this is more because you're creeping, whatnot.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll start creeping towards that flapping tent, and I'll relay to the crew. Basically everything I just observed. They don't seem threatening in any way, and I'm gonna go check this other area.
Over to that map, set up yourself on there and around. The map that you find yourself on. Sorry, what was that, Sally?
I said, oh no, and we sent her on her own. Don't
Yeah,
worry about
she's got fire support.
I got you guys on
First of all-
radio.
No. These are the 4 tents that you see there. There's fire pit, some wood broken up there. There's metal piping, just like a makeshift spot where you from what you can see, animals could be tied up, pack Brahmin or whatnot. Cart and 4 tents sitting there. This is the one that I described. The flap is blowing back and forth.
Sorry, which one I was zooming out.
Oh, sorry. This one here.
Yeah, I'll sneak up. So there's no one over here. I'll sneak up to that one first. I guess I don't have to be too sneaky. I'll be sneaky-ish.
Make me a stealth agility roll. Well, she's doing that. So Sniper, Saval and Sam, you're watching this as she goes from the first one, heads to the second, and heads to the northern encampment. She's able to move into it without being observed from either the human location or the super mutant camp. From the third encampment, where the other super mutants are, one of them he comes out and he has these large white cylinders, and he's tossing them up in the air, and he drops every once in a while, drops one. Eventually start getting into a pattern, and he's getting a couple going up at the same time.
He's juggling, isn't he?
Somebody throws a large, like a cannonball into the mix, and he's tossing that one.
I hope they throw away Active Chainsaw into the mix. That's always entertaining.
Okay. I was thinking about that, but first we got to encounter him first. If we meet with them before we happens. You can see another one. He is on a strange contraption. It looks like it's a single wheel that has a large post on it. He's sitting on the post, trying to keep his balance. He's got a pole draped across his back, and you can see the other two are hanging like a basket, and they're trying to put rocks in the basket at the same time as he's going around in a circle.
So these are also super mutants.
Not in the other group, down to below the one with Goldilocks and the 3 bears. Yes.
Oh, okay. So these are like circus super mutants.
That's at least what it appears to be.
Tricks. Oh
I know
God.
what they are. Sam doesn't know what they are, so I'm not saying anything.
Metagamer.
It's weirder and weirder.
You approach the tent, Miss Gray, and you push the flap open. It is empty inside. And by empty, I mean other than the pegs holding the tent and the frame itself, there's no personal effects, no bedroll, no blood, nothing. Managed to make it around to all of them. You notice at the fire, there's nothing on the fire like cooking. You can see that there's some wood. Most of the fire is burning itself down. You do come across a flipped over, looks like a hubcap that there was food in. So the food scattered about, and it looks like it's starting to the bugs and such are getting to it. And there is a single backpack laying right there, and that seems to be the only thing out of all these tents when you go from spot to spot.
This is weird. Can I reach the backpack?
Yeah. you're able
Okay.
to you're able to get to
Oh.
it without making your presence known, if you will.
Okay, I'll sneak over to the backpack.
Okay. It's a small backpack. You flip it open. You go through. There's dirty clothes, clean clothes, and the like inside. The only two things of note that you come across at that point is there's a single diluted stim pack on the outside, one of the outer pouches of the backpack, and then the backpack had a little bit of heft to it. When you get to the bottom, find wrapped in some of the clothes that are there, but you find a single. I'd have to pull up the picture for it. I think I showed it before, but you find a single gamma round. It's a special power cell for a particular weapon, and that's laying in the bottom.
Is it weird that they would have this gamma round, considering that they seem so non-threatening?
There's nobody there.
This is the camp that has nobody in it.
Oh, yeah.
So looking around in the camp itself, it seems weird. The round, the energy cell, seems well kept in the sense that it's most of the stuff that you find is like scratched, dinged, dented. This shows none of that. I mean, the lettering and whatnot that has faded off to the off of it. But you can make out the words "property of the United States government." You can make out some bits and pieces of words here and there that haven't
Okay.
worn away.
I definitely feel like Sam and Saval would be excited to see this thing, and even the diluted stim pack's not terrible. Is there a rock nearby?
Oh yeah, there's
Can
rocks
I
all over the place.
switch? Can I switch the? What'd you call it? A gamma ray?
Gamma round.
Gamma round. Can I switch the gamma round with a rock and put it back in the bottom of the backpack?
Yeah.
But take the gamma round, and I'll take the diluted stim pack too.
Okay. Yeah, there's rocks over by the cart. From the looks of it, it looks like whoever was here, and the implements that you find inside the cart, they were tending the fields that surround the encampment, or they were part of the people tending the fields, that were inside the encampment.
Okay.
Back. Now the human encampment, or what I described as this.
Yeah, can I make it to here?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, I'll, of course, radio the group and let them know that I'm moving to the next area. Also in a sneaky fashion.
Yep. So make another agility sneak roll. Actually, make a perception sneak roll with this one. Or
Roger that. Snake's asking Lane can kill things.
I'm working on it. Sorry, it was a perception sneak?
Perception sneak, yeah. Now, how well you're trying to hide versus how well I'm trying to see you.
Uh-oh.
I spend a luck point and reroll that.
Okay.
I can't see anything. Oh wait, it's just Snake. Get out with the scope.
You two
Okay.
and I are currently debating whether or not bones get smaller when they're cold.
Oh my goodness.
So you get pretty close. You're actually crouched behind the wall, looking over, and you're looking around. You can see a decent sized group, probably 30 or 40 humans. They are, some are cleaning, cleaning food, prepping stuff for dinner. Kids running around. A couple dogs, playing with. You turn and you look the other way, and you can see that there are guards pacing. They have. You don't see any firearms. Guys have either spears or makeshift axes. And you go to look back. You look the other way, and there's a head and a pair of eyes staring back at you. What are we looking for? A little boy, maybe 4 or 5 years old.
I'm looking for bugs.
I'll let you know.
Hey, what's your name?
Bobby, I'm gonna be late for dinner. I don't want to get in trouble.
Oh.
Gotta go.
Okay. Keep the bug search secret between us, okay, Bobby?
Okay, you got it. And he picks up a couple sticks and he goes running back to the fire. And he looks around and he waves at you.
Oh, awesome.
Well,
Did somebody...
Yes. So he waves. You see a couple people look, but they don't see who he's waving to.
Okay.
Like, okay, yeah, that's good. Little touch to the head. Okay, there, Bobby. You can see that there are 2 spots in the makeshift wall where they have like a little, gate or whatnot that you can, approach up to.
Are there people at the gate? Like people watching?
Yes, there is a man and a woman at the gate closest to you, which is, be south of where you're, excuse me, south of where you're standing. If you're at the top box, they are both sitting on looks like beach chairs, metal frames, nylon straps. They're just sitting there. Two of them have their spears, laying across their laps, bored out of their mind.
Interesting, but definitely humans. Are they talking?
Yeah, one of them is it's more the woman's speaking and the man's kind of yep.
Okay.
She's talking about everything from the weather, picking food, which which of the Kane twins is going to get into a brawl tonight, because they drank too much. Jacking up with who? Just the typical, gossip, if you will. And he's just, yep, yep.
Okay. Is it? What time is it? Bobby said he was late to dinner, so is it like darkish?
Yeah, it's probably. Yeah, I'd say the sun's just getting ready to set.
Okay. Do we think this could be the people that we were looking for to return the hostages?
No.
No.
This is. Remember, we were talking with a Zach. Was it a Zach's unit that we were talking with?
You were talking to a neural AI, system, but who or what? I don't know what that is.
Okay, so, but Sam would know enough to know that they don't have the facilities for that.
Oh no, this is if these people have like 4 sticks to rub together to make fire, they're doing pretty good.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna relay back to Gray. Not advanced enough.
Okay. But they seem pretty bored. I'm debating if I should make their evening more exciting or not.
I mean, we could do that, but do we need to do that?
I don't know. This guy seems pretty bored out of his mind. What about?
I mean, if we are going to approach, we could gain some knowledge on what's going on with the super mutants, maybe.
Would the rest of the crew be able to approach this? I'm calling it the third encampment
If they-
without.
Give them
The truck.
about an hour. They could
Okay.
probably swing up far enough around that they could approach. But Goldilocks and the Three Bears would definitely see them if they went straight ahead.
Okay.
So
What about this?
So would the circus.
What about
Well,
the
that's
fourth
good.
encampment?
That's the one. That's the one with the super mutants that are practicing to be a circus crowd.
Oh, so this is the circus. This is Goldilocks.
Yep.
This
Abandoned.
top one was abandoned, and then these are some humans.
Also, I'd rather deal with the humans than the super mutants.
Yeah, this is kind of a big nothing burger, though. Like, I don't know that these people would do anything for us.
I mean, they might have information.
So I will instruct the crew to come around, but I tell them to steer clear of Goldilocks.
And the circus.
And the circus is south, right?
Yes, the
Circus,
is far
So-
south.
Goldilocks.
Got it.
Yeah, so come up around the north past the abandoned camp. You don't need to search it. I've already done that. And then come to this sort of westmost camp and meet me. And we're going to talk to some humans, but they don't seem hostile.
Yep.
But Sally Sue, the Brahmin, I think everybody would be safe coming.
They don't seem hostile yet.
Well, if they get hostile, I count 4 sticks.
Wait. That's seriously all their weaponry?
Yeah,
Is
why
that
don't
all
you
their
come find
weaponry?
out?
Well, you know what they say.
That's all I see.
Sticks and stones.
Yep.
May break those bones.
But Snake will break them harder.
Oh, I hadn't heard the end.
But bones don't shrink when it's cold.
Bones.
Where did you get a different safe word?
Because he always forgets his previous safe words, he has to make up new ones every time.
Just
Interesting.
remember, same safe word as. That's the safe
Yeah,
word from when you get
I-
anally penetrated by that death claw.
I have to be gagged in order to give the safe word. Yep.
Oh yeah.
That's you.
Yep.
Okay.
What's your OnlyFans channel? Everybody listening?
At the Real Sam. Actually, let me check that.
Sam in the wasteland.
Sam in the Wasteland. That's better. Sam in the Wasteland. It is available.
Oh, there you go. See, you
Shocked.
should make it. You should make it a reality.
Mm-hmm.
You guys swing around and you start coming in towards the human encampment, and you get to maybe. It's great. You're still by the wall. Your guy, you can see them, and you hear a faint, mechanical noise coming from inside the encampment, and turn and look back in, and you can see rising up out of the ground, in each corner of the wall or the inside portion of the wall, a very large, medium size, I should say, begin to rise up, and you watch an arm, unfurl from one side, and you can see a very large weapon, multi-barrel weapon, drop out of the bottom of the arm. And as you're watching this, you're just watching the dome slowly turn in the direction of the group as they're approaching.
I think we found them.
Found who?
Exactly.
Sam, you see, again, you're too far away to see what I just described, but you can see little tiny tiny, like little tiny drops of red start to appear across Good and Plenty.
Do I know what those are?
Yes, you do.
Sheesh.
They're
Why do
just
you have to get the
twinkling, and
armor
you
on
can see they're moving, and eventually they start to all the dots start to begin to converge into one. They're working their way inward to converge at one spot.
On Good and Plenty.
On Good and Play.
We need to get moving.
You can see the
just-
two guards. The two guards sitting there, and they're the guy's got he's like
Great.
Edith, shut your trap for a minute.
Oh.
What's got them all riled up? And he points. I don't know. It's like, wait a minute. She's like, reaches down to a metal container by her feet. And she pulls out a pair of binoculars and she's clicking and she's. Oh yeah, hey. There's about half a dozen idiots walking down the road directly towards us. Two pack Brahmin. Oh, this should look nice.
So
You hear Sam screaming in your ear. Tell him not to shoot us, please. Tell him not to shoot us.
yeah, so I'm hiding. The lady and the guy don't know. How close am I to them right now?
Probably within less than 10 feet.
Okay. Are there backs to me by any chance?
No, they're on the other side of the. You're on. If you're sitting in front of your computer desk, you're on your side of the computer desk, looking over as if the computer wasn't there, and you can see them sitting, about 10 feet away.
Like behind a fence, you said?
But yeah, behind a small wall. Yeah, like
a makeshift.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I am I'm gonna radio to the group that I'm going to approach them because I see this thing targeting the crew, right?
Yep.
So I'm going to I'll let the group know what I'm doing, that I'm going to approach them and start a conversation to try and have them not shoot everybody. But then I'm going to take my hood off because I want to appear as non-threatening as possible.
Okay.
And I'm going to approach the two people.
Okay. So, you radio back, and you take your helmet off and secure to your, onto your hip, and then stand up and kind of wave your arms and yell, "Don't shoot!" How do you start the conversation?
Yeah, so I will hold my hands out so that they know. I'm not like holding them above my head or anything, but I'm sort of holding them out to my side so they can see that I'm not holding a weapon. And I'm going to say, hello, fellow wastelanders. Just another traveler in the area, looking to meet others that are out here doing the same thing we're trying to do.
Okay. Make a charisma barter roll or charisma speech roll.
This is gonna be terrible.
God, I'm not there.
Yeah, charisma speech.
Oh. Can you re-roll that?
You can if you like. Got the luck, you can keep re-rolling.
Oh. One more?
More, if you like, sure.
Okay, finally.
So you pop up and you kind of bring your hands up in front of you, non-threatening, and she's like, "Oh," he's like, "Oh dear," and the woman's like, "Oh dear me, you could have gave me a heart attack." Well, if you say you're, turns and she points to the guy, she points to John. fine. Yes, fine. Gets up and he walks over, and you see he had the spear in his hand. He kind of stamps it down on the ground, and you watch both the gun turrets. You watch the red beams that were forming. You watch the gun turret, which was starting to spin, and you just watch it slowly. The rotation slowly, go back down. Sam, you watch those little red beams, kind of, like fireflies, just fade from existence.
Good grief, that was way too close.
You actually, because of your, you actually could see, the little bit of the glow, in the distance from where the beams were originating. You kind of watched that little bit of a glow, kind of just fade away. Kind of little bits of balefire, just
I think we
they
found the
sparkly.
cog.
We found what?
I think we found the cog facility.
No.
Uh,
Didn't you just tell me that they weren't sophisticated enough to be the?
I have changed my.
Okay.
I have massively changed my opinion of them. They are now definitely advanced enough to be cog.
Not that I still don't have my helmet on. I just wanted to hear Warpy say that he was wrong.
I was wrong. Please don't yell at me. So the woman's like, you wait here. You wait right here, young lady. I'll be right back. And she kind of stretches. You can hear bones pop, and she stands. And she goes, walking back, and she trundles off towards the fire. The group approaches. You guys are on the other side of the fence line, or the gate, I should say, on the other side of the makeshift wall, and a man approach. Middle aged. For the ladies, not too bad on the eyes. He kind of needs to look and say, greetings. My name's Jacob, and who might all you be?
I wave.
So I'll introduce myself. I'll introduce, the main crew, and we've got all the hostages with us too, right?
No, they're back at Addyville.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you didn't have it. You would have ran out of food before you even made it to the
Okay.
flood store if you had
Okay.
everybody with you.
Yeah.
Or the
So
barn. I'm sorry.
I'll introduce myself and everybody else.
Well, we're about to sit down for a meal. Please come on in, and we'll talk and exchange stories and such. We're not going to, your stuff's your stuff. We're not going to take anything from you. I ask you to, put your weapons, hide them or anything like that. If this comes to a fight, well, I think we'll end up having our tickets punched for the last train west. So, excuse me, please follow me. And you see John, the guard that was there, drag his chair out of the way so you guys, come through. And he, reaches over and he reaches down. And again, the gate's not more than knee high. He grabs a stick on the top and kind of just lifts the gate up and kind of, slides it off to the side so you all can come through. Everybody's out. You can see that there are, as described, now you can see them up close, men and women. Children, some dogs. They look well fed. Not, they've all shown, they all have, some have scars. One person's missing an eye, so that they're not perfect as, what the ancients presented themselves in some of the books and pictures. So if they are vault dwellers, and they're
Very strange looking vault dwellers.
exactly, they have a funny way of showing it. So you guys are brought in. The meal is simple. It's mostly some sort of vegetable stew. and they get, Jacob, says, "Hey, well, please tell me your story. Where have you come from? Why are you here? Obviously, you have here in tech. So, did you hear the radio message?" Is one of the questions that you hear somebody that's among the people there that's eating, call out.
Did we hear the message? I don't remember.
Did we?
You don't know what message the last radio message that the group heard would have been from the girls back at Mew 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 before it was, before they went off, before they left the Joes. You guys haven't really heard anything at this point. You're too far away to hear Kenny Knight in St. Louis, which was the DJ that was playing the music. So you're not exactly sure if that's what they're thinking of or if it's something else.
Yeah, so I'll just share with him, what we know. Some of the, what we recently just did, just east of here.
They're listening intently as you talk about that, and it's like we've heard of these crazies. We haven't actually encountered any of them. Our little settlement here is, as you could see, is rather well protected.
Yeah, so I'll use that as a segue to learn more about their little settlement, because we haven't outright asked them if this is a COG facility yet, but basically in a roundabout way, we're trying to confirm.
Okay, so you learn, so Jacob and many of the others here heard on, they have some technological know-how. They have, through the radios that they've managed to keep operational or had access to, that there was an offer being broadcast out for like-minded men and women to come to this town, come to the town of Veneti, and to see, and for those people from Illinois listening, if I'm saying it wrong, I apologize. I don't want the Chamber of Commerce, writing me a nasty letter, or Saval, I should say. So they've heard, this radio message asking them to come to this general location, and that they would be given the ability to not only learn, further their skills in science and technology, but to also learn and to become part of a great community. And most have been here for at least 3 full seasons, so at least 3 years. The encampment that you see was already here. Sorry, the framework of the encampment was already here, in the sense that the wall was there. The weapons and placements were there, and every once in a while, a group of robots would arrive from somewhere up north, or north of the town, north of this location, and they would go along and talk to people, test, to gather hair and blood work, and then certain people would be chosen to go to go with them. This is we're the ones that haven't been chosen the first first time in the over the 3-year period. They come periodically every couple days, see if anybody new's come in, talk to them, that type of deal. And but we were able to scavenge what we need. There's crops growing, in the area around us. We got water. No permanent structures, but
Do they ever hear from the people that get tested and are taken? Do they
Every
ever
once in a
hear from
while-
them again?
sometimes yes. Every once in a while, one or some of them may come back to talk to to gather he's looking around. He's like points at a older couple. Their son was taken, or sorry, was selected just recently. He came back a week later to bring back his wife. He apologized to his parents that he couldn't bring them along, that there were constraints within the compound that he couldn't bring them in yet. So usually the robots will drop off, odds and ends that we may need, food or medical supplies, though both have been coming fewer and fewer over the last several months.
Sounds a bit like,
I'm sorry?
sounds like this might be the place that we were told to bring the girls to. I tell this to Gray.
But the girls are in Addyville, correct?
They're at the. I'm sorry. They're at the barn.
Yes.
That was
We
the
don't
area that
have
was
them
selected
with
because of the
Yeah.
more defensible position, the water and such.
Their last name. So I'm going to sort of casually mention the last name Kavanaugh. I don't know. Do we know? So the girls were Phoebe and Teresa Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Was it their mom or their aunt or somebody that was looking for them? I'm looking through
Their-
my notes.
Dad told us to find them before Snake tortured him to death.
Do we remember his name?
Alex, I believe.
Okay.
His dying wish was for us to find his kids, and then Snake did his best to torture him.
Okay. Find his kids and then bring them to the COG facility.
Yes.
Okay.
And then you also learned that from when you furthered that along when you spoke with Joe on the phone, the computer voice that you heard talking, and he gave you guys the location or general area to where to come, and to bring to bring the people from Mew, because they were fellow members of the COG continuity of government.
Yeah, so I'm going to sort of, I don't know that I can say it casually, but sort of slip it into while we're telling the stories of, where we've been. Slip in that we know Alex Kavanaugh.
Make another charisma speech roll.
Oh God, I
No.
suck at this.
But you know what? Even a failure would be just as good as a success.
He
Because
gives more information.
oh, okay.
Well, looking around, using your train. Okay, so using your trained eye, people don't seem sick. They don't, everybody seems to be okay. Whatever wounds that they had have been stuff that's happened a while back, healed over, that type of deal. Make you realize you could probably kill everybody here without even breaking a sweat or turning on the flamethrower.
Freaking hell.
Don't give
the
them ideas.
conclusion I usually come to.
Right, well, that's true. C2 is still he's still lounging on top of the pack Brahmin. Sally Sue, you have a small group of say young adults. And I say that with a smile on my face, but technically you are a young adult. Just kind of staring at you. It's like
I wave.
They all wave back to you. They all have this like far away glazed look on their faces. They're all just like staring at you.
Something on my face?
Your mask. My nose.
Ah,
Do they recognize Sally Sue?
Mm. No.
Are they from Okawville?
Oh God, that would just be too. No. So you mentioned the Okawville, and just passing, and nobody's been there. Nobody's. They know it's a town north of here.
Okay, so none of them are. So none of them are from
none of
the
them are
area
rockets.
where Sally Sue completely tanked the economy. Got it.
Oh God, no. Yeah.
ready to take another economy.
Oh God, can't take you anywhere.
Sally, make a order roll yourself. You're listening to Gray talk, and her and Jacob are going back and forth. You're like, no, nope. Vroom, vroom, I'm an airplane.
Oh.
So no, sorry.
Can I re-roll that
Nope.
then?
You can if you like. Yep, you can. You spend a point of luck. Okay, so you hear Miss Gray mention about she drops the name Kavanaugh, and it's somebody that they've come across in passing. Most of the group is people are just listening. Jacob's just like, oh, okay, and he's going back to having a conversation with her. But you notice that there's a man sitting at the edge of the table, the picnic bench that you guys are sitting at. His head kind of like he's eating his food, and he kind of stops, and he kind of just looks up and cocks his head and looks over at Miss Gray's general direction, and goes back to eating.
How many of us noticed that?
No, she. You all can make charisma, charisma speech rolls.
Yeah. Ah,
She's the one that picks up on it right away. Well, technically right away. Fallen Snake, if you like to. You don't have to, but if you like to.
Oh, what role is it again?
Charisma speech.
Okay.
of course.
I was like, aha! It was him in the cupboard with the can opener.
Let's see. I think we're back up to full action points
I
now.
think you are. I had you guys at max with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Saval, you're like, so the game's afoot, I see. Oh, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die. So Sally Sue, well, Saval, like I said, you're just like taking in the entire crowd, and it's like, I could kill him with a pencil, her pencil.
Job.
What about me?
No, you needed 2 successes, you got 1.
Oh, awesome.
So that's it. But hey, you did good. You at least you were aware of what's going on, and people kind of going back and forth. Jacob's Neil's about halfway through, and he's like, well, you're welcome to spend. Oh, excuse me. Welcome to spend time camp here inside the walls with us. You don't have to worry about the super mutants. They don't bother anybody, and if we're lucky, maybe we'll get a show on tonight.
Was about to ask that because they seem rather weird as far as super mutants go.
Well, in some of the younger men are kind of giggling and elbowing each other. Haven't seen anything yet. Goldilocks and the 3 Bears are harmless. They sit there. They're not good enough to be part of the circus. So, but you can go over there and talk to them. I promise they won't. They're bears, but they won't bite. The circus, I would proceed with caution when you talk to the circus, especially the ringleader.
Something we should be aware of with regards to them?
No, but don't want to ruin it for you. So you're not. You won't be. I don't think you'll be attacked unless you become overly hostile to them. They also seem to be harmless too. Some of the but each his own. And to punctuate that, over towards where the circus group is, you can see that there are columns of flames every once in a while now shooting into the air, and you can hear some sort of badly tuned music playing. The typical P.T. Barnum big top, but kind of all scratchy and tinny and like artesian music from Star Trek.
Got it.
So, and you realize that somebody's dumping either gunpowder or spark powder into the fire to kind of get the sparks and the flares going off. Some of the group is heading over. Some of our people that are here are heading over. If you're interested to see, they usually put on a show.
Yeah, I'll go.
Nightly.
Yeah, Snake and C2 will go.
Okay. C2 hobbles down and he comes over and he kind of tuck him into Baby Bjorn and he's kind of sitting there and he immediately falls asleep again. And you guys head over.
Mm-hmm.
Very.
Besides Snake, who else is heading over?
I guess I'll head over as well, since I'm genuinely curious as to what's going on.
Okay. So.
Should we all go then?
So the men folk have gone off and leaving all you women sitting behind.
Gray's capable.
Yeah, I'm gonna sit here and talk to Jacob, I guess.
Okay.
I'll stay with Gray.
Seems nice to have a pleasant conversation with somebody who's not trying to bash your skull in or
That's two
whatnot.
brain cells to rub together. Yep.
Yeah, that too. So, and what are you doing, Sally?
I'll stay with Gray.
Okay. So the three of you head across. You can hear the smaller super mutant whining about, but I want to go to see what's going on in the circus. Now, baby bear, it's okay. Just stay here. We'll be fine. Kind of feeling kind of weird that there's a large, very, very large super mutant talking in a high-pitched woman's voice when he's obviously not a woman.
Are they the largest of the group? Or is Baby Bear the largest of the group, I should say?
No, Baby Bear's actually the smallest of the
really? Huh.
Yes. Going over, you can see that the red tent's there, and the part on either side and brought back. You see the super mutants, which are, if you haven't figured it out, they're just like clowns, and they all come. And some of them now have white face paint on. And they come out and they're kind of bumbling into each other, and everybody's laughing, and you can see that they're throwing stuff back and forth. You can see that there are several. Yes, you described you asked about the chainsaws. You do see not chainsaws, but you do see rippers, and they're tied down so that they're operational, and these guys are actually pretty good. They're catching them back and forth. Nobody's lost a finger or anything like that. And you're sitting there and one of the guys but here comes the main attraction. And best way to describe it is every teenage boy's wet dream comes out of the middle of the tent in a top hat and tails, and a dominatrix outfit that would, looks like had to be painted onto her. You see a very beautiful woman come out. Black leather boots, stiletto heels, and she unfurls a whip, and with a crack, she just lays into the back of one of the mutants. He goes scrambling away, and you can see that he's, now assumed a position where another super mutant climbs on top of him. And with each crack of the whip, the guys aren't even paying attention to the super mutants. They're watching her. And the next super mutant climbs on top of him, and they actually build, a super mutant pyramid. The one standing on top of the shoulders of the other, holding it up. And the one that you saw that was riding the unicycle, actually, when he climbs up on top of the top of the pyramid, he actually has that metal yoke across his back, and you can see it's filled with rocks. And each super mutant is holding each one, with the above, grab them by the ankles, holding them up. C2's, standing there with rapt attention. He's got his head cranked all the way back, and he's looking. And you watch at, each time she cracks the whip, they change position. So now the guy on the bottom, the very bottom of the pyramid, is only standing on one foot. He's got the other one, knee high up to his chest, and he's holding that entire group standing above him. And it's actually
very impressive.
For watching what you're seeing and watching what they seem to be capable of doing, it is very impressive. She lashes out again, cracking the middle one. He actually drops so that his legs, instead of being held, he's sitting like his thighs and his leg is wrapped around the shoulders of the guy, and the entire group drops down. And other than a little bit of the rock shifting and a couple falling out, they managed to hold on to each other. Eventually, she cracks the whip a third time, and they, the two on top, the rocks fall off. They go tumbling away. Everybody's laughing and hooting and hollering. He just looks at everybody with like a sneer on her face, and she cracks the whip at the crowd again, into the crowd, and the couple of the boys go scrambling back out of the way, and she fluffs her the tails on her jacket, and she kind of like turns and heads off to the side. This goes on for maybe about 15 minutes, and then eventually they kind of stop. They gather themselves up. All of them stand in the line. They all bow to the crowd, and they all, and then they all begin to file off. Everybody kind of again begins, separate ways. Most of the men who would try to, nobody gets close enough to her. Either the biggest mutant, which is really big. The one who had the metal yoke around his neck, either it intercepts them, or she actually opens flesh, with that whip.
Snake, want to try?
Oh, do I?
He's been waiting for this moment.
Yep. Leave C2 with us. He'll be safer here.
Yeah, I do want to try to approach her when the show is over.
Okay. So, she's heading back to her tent after getting, barking orders to the mutants as they, begin to, kind of clean up everything. Start to approach, the big guy, turns, and again, you fought a super mutant before, and you're like, I can, there's very little I can't take on, type of mentality. So he doesn't, he's not taken aback by the fact that you just keep walking.
Mm-hmm.
But you can hear, a voice, no, let him approach. What? So, and looking at you, and the shadows on the curves of her body. She's looking at you and she's like, "So, what do you need, Wastelander?"
I see you like it rough. Snake, who are you?
she laughs. Yeah, a haughty laugh, and she's like, "You don't know the half of it. Your name's Snake, Allison."
Me too. How'd you find your way here?
He gestures towards the tent, and she says, "Well, let's sit and talk about it."
Okay, I'll go to the tent.
So you step inside. There's several, and you kind of look around, and it's like there's a way that all this is fitted in here. You can actually see that there are two wardrobes. The actual like cabinets, the wardrobe cabinets sitting in there. There's a canopy bed.
Seen one of those in a while.
Yeah. And table and whatnot. And she goes over and she pours herself glass of something. She grabs a tin cup, pours some for you, hands it to you. So, I found myself in need of a change of scene. Takes a sip and she kind of peers over the cup at you, like, and I found myself beset by super mutants. Those guys. This whip is more dangerous than they are. And yes, I do know how to use it.
Sure you do. Did you find them or did they find you?
Oh, they found me. And I found them. So, we've been traveling for a while. Those poor, pathetic mutants that are above us, and he points towards the other encampment. They I don't know what their problem is. They have something going on, that's not quite, right up here. And she taps her head. But between us and them, we got a pretty good deal going on. Travel around, food, get some caps, head on to the next place. Take it heading north. I know those cog boys would probably enjoy the show. Kind of like his bending over and unzipping one of her boots. But until we get there, we'll stay here for a while.
Did you learn to handle a whip like that?
Oh well. Daddy was a Brahmin herder. Knew how to keep everything in line.
Ramen usually aren't that rowdy.
Different strokes for different folks then. Now, Sally Sue just wanted to let everybody know she likes potatoes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
We might be headed up to see the Cog folks later as well. Have you been there before?
Not recently. So, I passed through with my dad. She gets a little wistful, a little sorrow in her voice. That was a long time ago. Grown up and grown in. I've been there last.
You ever hang out with the folks in the other camp? Or did you just hang out here?
Stay here.
Any
Yeah.
reason why?
Oh. It's a little off-putting with the robots. They come in. Not exactly, they don't really care for, my clowns. And, Yeah, I take care of what's mine.
What robots?
Oh, there's stops and she thinks she's scratching. At this point in time, it's pretty much a winning smile and the cup that she has in her hand. She's hung everything else up. Oh, she still has the top hat on. She stops and she steps behind one of those changing dividers, and she's like, "Yeah, there's a pair of them. Well, sorry, there are two robo brains that come down, and then some sort of other funny looking robot. It's got a giant wheel and it looks like a TV set in the middle of its chest. They come down and they talk to people, ask them questions, and they have this medical, some sort of medical device. And they poke and they prod and they gather stuff, and then they go off about their business. And people just suddenly get picked. One of the robo brains comes back down and says, "Hey, such and such, you're coming to the camp with us." And that's the last they see them. Yeah, every once in a while somebody comes back, but usually few and far between.
What do you think they're doing with them there?
She pokes her head, her head around the end of the thing. Oh, honestly, don't know, don't care. Not affecting me and mine. Sometimes it doesn't pay to stick your nose in the business that ain't yours.
But they don't bother you?
No. Nope. I know enough not to go into their encampment. I know enough. Enough not to go into the encampment. They have those sentry guns scattered about, both in on the corners and also in the camp itself. So whatever was here, just broad base swings her arm out before it got leveled to the ground, is still active. But there's nothing underneath the town. They did poke around, look in the sewers and such. Nothing here, so whatever's powering them and keeping those guns going, it's buried deep.
She's still behind the divider?
No, she's come back out now. She's in a loose-fitting shirt and pants.
What do you do when you aren't whipping the boys out there?
Smooth, honey. Your game is on point.
Well, and with that, she walks over and she kind of, looks outside and closes the tent. And we can go to the whole scene of wild horses, two people smoking cigarettes, fireworks, and such. So I'm not going to turn this into NC-17 night. We'll save that for the, Bohica.
Oh, I didn't even get to use the poking and prodding line either.
Oh,
jeez.
You're such a buzzkill, Phoenix.
Oh, sorry.
I know.
Next, you were going to say that you were going to that she had flexibility and you had reach.
Don't forget that whip has many uses.
That you went for a round of sparring, your axe and her whip, and came to a tie, and then you decided to have the tiebreaker in her bed.
What was your OnlyFans channel?
If he didn't use ChatGPT to come up with that either.
Oh no, that's 100% Warpy original.
That was a Mass Effect reference. I have no clue what you're talking about. It's probably the single most cringe romance scene in any game. But it's hilarious.
And let's see, in chat, it's if we're lucky, she might decide to make him her pet, and we can finally be rid of him. So, yes, you. Well, damn, Saval, what the two are you doing? Because he's gone into the tent and has not come out yet. Okay.
Well, I mean,
You
other
head-
than
you-
that
you head back to
conversation, we're probably head back to the other camp.
Okay. So Jacob's found a spot for you guys to bed down or pitch your own tent.
Can we
And-
ask when was the last time the robots came and how long between them coming it usually is?
Well, they're like clockwork. They should be here in about 2 days.
Okay. So do we want to wait for them, or do we want to try and see if we can bring the others? The others here.
Waiting for them's an interesting idea.
Well, if we go get the others, we'll miss them.
I mean, it sounds like they come back pretty regularly, so
Yeah, I would kind of like to see what exactly they do.
Where you go, here's some fresh people. I mean, me.
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
Just hand the girls off to strange robots.
oh, thank you there, meatbag. We appreciate that. Come with us. Resistance is futile.
we will extract your brains and turn you into more robot brains. Yes. Evil plan. Ha 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 ha.
So
Well,
you see Sam and Saval come back with C2. They're short one sneak.
We think we might have finally gotten rid of him.
He's running
Thank
away to join the
goodness.
circus. Oh, I finally got to use it. Yes.
Guess he can be their flaming axe juggler.
Is that like code for something?
I have no clue.
It's nice you guys recognize I have talents.
Oh, we know you're talented.
Hmm.
wink, wink.
Yes, you kill everything before we can ask you questions.
I haven't killed anything yet.
Then
Aren't
good.
you
Well,
busy?
At least.
You're not even here.
Yeah, that's true. I am busy.
You get to find out all the different ways that the whip can be used.
Creative.
It can be. Morning arrives. Everybody, you're woken up, bright and early. The sounds of the camp coming alive and people getting stuff ready and such. So Snake, you wake up. Wow, that's pretty cool. Sore, bloody, tired, and very well, and yeah, and
Usually not very well rested.
but you're and it went pretty well. There we go. Cool. So the super mutants are outside and they're kind of practicing and whatnot. They kind of don't even pay any mind as you do your little walk of shame back to the other encampment,
Oh, there's no walk of shame.
or strut your stuff depending on how you want to do it.
It's like he's trying his stuff.
Yeah, I'm basically wearing my Grognak outfit.
And nothing else. He's got everything. He's got everything hobo style on the back of his battle axe. Armor just clinking along. He's like, yep.
Yeah.
Kind of like Daredevil after he left She-Hulk's place.
I swear, if he comes back and his chest plate is broken in half, I'm not fixing it. I told him that thing was fragile. It was up to him to not break it.
Wearing each welt and scratch as a badge of honor.
So all don't treat him.
Yeah. But it burns when I pee.
Good.
Yeah, you see Snake just come, walking in. You can see the group sitting down at one of the picnic tables eating. You head back over to where the tents are, or do you just go over and sit your yourself down there.
I'm gonna go get some sleep.
Okay. So,
Good. If you had come over here, we would have kicked you out of the table. I told you to go put on some pants. Proper pants.
well, it was kind of chilly
nice
today.
transition.
Yeah, see, hey, there you go. So it was kind of chilly today with the weather. I don't know if it rained where you guys are. Poured up here though for a little while.
Poured up here as well.
So I have my champion sweatshirt on, pair of jeans, down here in the den. My dog just paced back and forth. I don't think she wants to go out, but so, hey guys, can we grab a 10 and let me see what the dog wants to do?
Yeah, I was gonna say I wanted the same thing. Good timing.
Be right back.
You wanted to take the dog out?
Oh, got a dog?
Wow. Indeed.
It only takes 10 minutes, maybe
Oh,
9.
God.
Maybe not.
Alien fleet at the same time.
Yeah.
It's actually a pretty cool battle. 'Cause I got the ultra rare carrier admiral and his ship, Final Talon or Last Talon. I have one of the other Paragon admirals in my fleet too. So, but yeah, I'm trying to just keep the game going before the next patch comes out and all my stuff breaks me again.
Yeah. The game I'm playing, I was gonna try to be nice and try to do a little more exploration, but everybody around me decided to constantly declare war against me, so...
Were you fanatic purifiers?
No, not Fnatic Purifiers.
Yeah, okay.
So, I've invaded Earth.
Yeah, I came across the Necrotids. The Earth soul was in their system, so I was like, oh, okay.
What I like to do is conquer them, extract their brains, put them in blenders, and then put them in robot bodies.
Okay.
Brain smoothie robots. Yeah.
But the latest, the next patch, or sorry, the next expansion is, bioships and now the building, but the buildings that you actually build, like how you can build like the gene clinics.
Yeah.
They actually now serve a purpose other than just hoping for helping you with habitability for the planets. You need to build the gene ships or the gene clinics and the bio factories to actually
Build the ships.
And you can go two different ways with the ships that you build. So, for example, I think the Tiyanthi are the space whales that are in the game, and you can have, and there's also the space amoebas and the ether drake and whatnot. You can act with the next DLC comes out, you can actually go along and raise them from an egg, which is actually one of the side, one of the quests that you can get in the game. You can actually, you find an egg and you can actually, 50-50 chance either hatches and becomes a monster that you have to kill, or hatches and it's just a dead body inside, and you get the science for it. Same idea as you can go along. And you have to raise them. You can raise them, and as they get more experience fighting battles, they become better, and you can bioengineer their weapons loadouts and so forth onto them. Stuff that the bioengineered fighter craft and so forth that you can get. That usually your advanced or your heavy fighters are better than what those become. But that's all stuff that can as the ship gets experience, it gets more powerful, gets a little bit bigger, more slots. You can gear it up and or grow the weapons into the spots that are there. And
Your
then
ships
there's
actually become more dynamic, more able to adapt and grow to fit the needs of your fleet.
right. Or you can go or you can build a giant space hatchery, and then you can grow the ship already. Here's your stock destroyer, or their version of their destroyer. I think it's like a Stinger or something like that. It's called.
I saw that they were supposed to redo Pops a little bit. I've been hoping that they're going to make it easier.
A lot of the things like not population. You actually have to go along. So let's say you have a deficit of minerals on the planet. You actually have to set up a trade route from one of your other planets to ship the minerals across, and hope they get there in time before something bad happens. So they actually have stuff like that. So now pirates will be a little bit more than just a pirate takes over the space sector and you go in, blow it up, and get minerals and whatever loot that it has. Now
Actually affect your trade routes, and
right,
make it so that way it's difficult to actually supply worlds that need it.
Yep, and it makes it a reason to have like I went along and I have all my minor like the medieval primitive peoples. So every system that I have there, I have a destroyer sitting in every system to blow up the asteroid that'll show up. But now it actually makes sense to actually have like more ships than what you would normally use, or build the space stations with fighter hangar bays, so that a la Star Wars, your X-wings go out and patrol an area and come back to make sure that there are no bad guys. Trade routes actually, and the little was it the little ring with the diamond on it for trade actually becomes more important. Having extra resources to be able to move around becomes more important. So they're trying to make they're working on making the things better. They're beta testing the bio ships and everything like that now. So I figure summertime, maybe early spring, that'll have the thing. But no, I don't have anything bigger than a battleship right now. I don't, no Titans or.
I'm only at cruise. I'm only at cruisers.
I can get attack moons. So.
I'm only at Stellaris.
Oh.
The one nice thing about Stellaris is it's a fairly mature game, and they're still evolving it.
Yes.
I do get tired. I do get tired of managing Pops, though. Sometimes it's just like just have the planet take care of itself.
Well, but you can do that. What I found and what I learned the hard way is that I go along, I get the colony capability where it gives me an extra colonist right off the bat. So instead of having the 2 people that's land, I have 3, which means I have unemployment until I build something. Usually the first thing I build is either a gene clinic if I have them, or a temple, because so I get more unity, I can get more of the the buffs and the perks and so forth and so on. And but now that I've gotten everything up where I'm producing, like I have like 900,000 unity, I'm not really worried about, or 90,000 unity, sorry. I'm not really worried about doing that, so I've been building alloys. But what they suggest to do is the very first thing you build on a planet is a holo theater.
Oh, I always build a precinct first. I want to control them, and then I'll build a holo theater.
Okay.
And then I'll tell them to be happy.
There you go. Sorry, I do that for the areas with crime. So yes, I do occasionally build a precinct, but I find out what they said was the holo theater gives them the amenities, and the amenities actually raises the happiness of the planet. So I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. The other thing that they tell you to do is go along after you build your stuff, get rid of the colonists. Take them, the colonists help the colony to build faster, but they don't give you anything. They take resources, don't give you anything back. Take those colonists and assign them to whatever whatever you want them to build. In this case, the gene or the temple or the precinct, and assign them to that. That'll go along and give you whatever that bonus is, and it gives you more bonus than the colony takes a little bit longer to grow, but still.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I suppose it doesn't help that I enslave literally everyone.
Now I'm starting to understand why they declared war on you.
Yeah.
I'm currently exterminating 300 pops at the moment.
You
Wow,
said you
okay.
weren't fanatic purifiers. Oh my god, you are fanatic purifiers.
I am not, but that's just the way it just the way it goes.
Okay, everybody back?
Yeah.
Has Gigastructures been updated?
Yes.
Oh my god. Hooray, I can play again.
Well, it'll be don't get excited just yet because they're going to be updated again because they're going along and they're setting it up so that you pick in your Gigastructure, you pick which play style is yours. And the Gigastructures that become available and I think there's like a best that pops up and so forth, or a scenario, or like the cat that's in Bogan and the different crisis and so forth, based upon the Gigastructures. So you get to pick and choose which ones work for you. Right now, it's pretty much all of them become available, and people are complaining that it's too many choices. So this there's because I'm part of the Discord channel for them. I can learn about what's going on where, and to talk to them, to find out when the patch isn't comes up, because they don't bother to post on the website on Steam. They just say, hey, you want to talk to us, come see us on our thing, on our Discord. So that's how I learn about the updates coming out. But wait until the newest patch comes out for that, so that you can go along and go, hey, this is what's, oh, I like building, the Dyson spheres around everything. Well, here's how you do it.
Yeah.
And you can actually go along and craft your whatchamacallit to your play style that. Okay. Sorry about that, folks. Discussing the some of the finer points of Stellaris.
Yeah.
Nerds.
Indeed.
Maybe.
So it's the next day. You guys are going to wait a day, you're saying, and then go, and then still wait for the robots to show up, or?
I think so.
I think, yeah, that's what we're going to do.
You spend the next, and you don't have to tap into your food. There's plenty of food here. You guys spend the next day and a half just exploring the general area. Most of the town has been, as I described, is laid to waste. You find the small sewer system that's there, but nothing leads to anywhere. You do find multiple turrets scattered throughout the entire community.
Of course.
They are capable of defending everything here, and also dealing with anything else that may have gotten inside of the location. You surprisingly, and unless you guys bring it up, nobody makes any mention about the other community,
Yeah, they're what?
the other settlement there.
Actually, I kind of wouldn't mind figuring out what happened to that settlement, if possible.
Sure. Who do you talk to?
I mean, thus far we've been talking to Jacob, right?
Yep.
Yep.
So possibly stick with him and see if he knows anything.
Okay. So he's, this is at the beginning of the second day when you ask him about that, and you find that the community that the camp that was there were people from here that left the camp to go work and try to work the fields and so forth in that general area, and they don't know. He doesn't know. There's been some stuff. There was some flashes of light in the night, and then everybody was gone. This was only a couple of days ago.
Oh.
Did it coincide with one of the visits?
I was just gonna ask.
No. No, this was 3 days ago, 4 days ago. About the time that you as the group showed up. But that was it. You know more than they do based upon going into the fact that you went into the encampment and everything like that.
Got it. So mysterious disappearance. Got it.
Later on when we showed up.
What about that guy that perked up first night when I mentioned the last name Kavanaugh? Saval saw his reaction, right?
I did too.
And I'll assume overnight, Sally Sue told me or something while we were in the women's dorm. Do we see that guy? We'd really like to talk to him, I think.
You can. You can find. You can talk. Yes, you are able to talk to him. He doesn't exactly, it's not exactly hard to find. But it's the what reason. Sorry, what reason to go to him type of deal.
Well, I guess under the pretense of learning more about him, but ultimately our goal is to see if he knows who Alex was, right? He reacted to hearing his name,
He did.
so he knows him. So
Pretty
tell
well,
us
yeah.
more about him. What does he know about him?
So he's like, well, Alex, was one of the people I spoke to on the radio before heading out to come here. He was, the overseer of one of the vaults, and what I understood, he really wasn't supposed to talk to anybody about what was going on, and the the fact that the other vaults are out there type of deal. And I know the things, lost contact with him. Don't know what happened, that type of deal.
So I'm going to share a little bit more about Alex has now passed away. But before he did, he told us about his daughters. What does he think Alex would want us to do with his daughters?
Like, don't know. I know he talked about his daughters, but I don't know what to tell you to do with them. I mean, none of us has gotten inside the camp, so we don't know what inside the very quiet when he says this. It's like nobody's gotten inside. I believe it's the annex. I don't know what's inside there. I don't know what to say for her, for them to do with them. If you know what's going on, bringing them here, be okay, but they may be stuck out here like we are right now. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
Not very helpful. I don't know. Does anybody have any ideas? Anybody? Can he tell us more about the annex or the camp?
The camp here that you're talking about, or
The one he was just talking about. He said nobody's been inside or something.
oh, so from what he understands, from what he's managed to learn, and from what the what Alex has managed to tell him, the annex was a facility that existed that was designed to control or look over all the other COG facilities in the area. And they went along and they set up. This was set up to be kind of like a main hub, if you will. And the facility was used to, it was populated by employees of the different the government agencies and such that existed at the time, and they were kept up and running, as everything was kind of like collapsing around in the area, and it's what's here, what who's what's in control, that type of deal. You have no idea. He has no idea. Not sure.
Did he say that there's a facility near here somewhere?
So he's looking, as he's talking with you, and he's like, he points, and I'll since we're on the map here, he points in that general area.
I missed
And
that. Which
I'm
area?
sorry.
Oh,
Yep.
Okay.
So he says at least that's where the robots come from. So the base has got whatever's got to be around in that area there.
Okay. So it all goes back to the robots and the inspections. Okay.
So.
We'll talk to Jacob. Is there a place we could hide? So we're not so much interested in being inspected ourselves. We're more interested in watching the inspection and then likely following the robots back to wherever they go. So can we come up with a plan with Jacob on the best place to hide, be able to watch everything, and then ultimately follow them?
He's like, Jacob's like, well, yeah, I don't see what's. Sure, okay. There's I can't guarantee that nobody's going to tell you or say anything to anybody about the fact that you're here. So, but yeah, you guys can go. You guys can hang out. There's an area right outside of town that you can just take cover in.
Sounds like that might be our best bet.
Yeah.
I mean, the only other option would be to get examined and taken and then explain it and hope that they are amenable.
Yeah. Well, I'm wondering if we should almost make an appearance like we're officially leaving, so that most people here aren't aware of our plan in case it does come to they're asked about us. Nobody would be lying if they said they're not here and they left.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's true. So I mean,
Well,
Okay.
yeah, that sounds like a good plan.
Okay. So yeah, we'll do that. We'll, as far as the average person here at this little camp thinks, we're headed off. Maybe we'll even use some misdirection. We'll say we're going south or something. But Jacob will be the only one that knows that we actually won't be too far away watching what happens.
Okay, so you guys do that. So you set yourself up to go off to the side, if you will. It's about lunchtime on the second day. And you find yourself, small rise looking over down. There's a trail that they cut through, and you can see, as I described, two robot brains, coming in. They're carrying. One has a large pack on its back, a metal framework that it's carrying, and drop this just onto the map here, and you can see the third one
Oh, they're so happy.
looks like that.
Yes, ma'am.
And the guy's just rolling along. He stops and he's kind of his, wheel stops and torso twists to the left and to the right, and it just keeps rolling along. And you can see this one, the yes man, as everybody just described, talking to various people. Pats the dog on the head, and he continues along. The two robot brains are going along, and they have they set stuff down on the table, and they set up some sort of little science-y type of kit. You're not sure, you guys are a little too far away for that part, and maybe about an hour goes by. And then you can see that they've packed up and they're heading back, and there's 3 people with them. One of the crowd of young men that had gone in with you guys to go see the circus act, and then 2 women, one young, one middle age. And they're following along, and they got their stuffs, and they're talking and chatting with themselves. And you can see that the robot passes by, and they're continuing on, and you can see the robot, the mono wheel robot, kind of like look around, and then it continues on rolling up up the hill or up the path. The map, there we go. Okay, try and delete the map. Up the path. Guys can, if you wish, to follow.
That's why we're here.
Okay, well, I didn't know how far ahead you want to let them go.
Yeah, I mean, we'll let them far enough ahead so that we can sort of stay back. Do we think that one stopped and swiveled around because it sensed that we were nearby? Like, did
You're
it
not
do
sure.
it? Okay.
It didn't give off any kind of indication that it was scanning or anything like that. But you don't know how robots think, so you don't really know for certain.
At the very least, it's on the lookout.
You'd be in the following along. I'm gonna do it this way. Everybody make a perception sneak. The Pack Brahmin and C2 are back at the camp, so you don't have to worry about them. Or the human encampment. So everybody make a roll.
Good job, Steak.
Very nice. Very, very nice.
Okay. I'll give you the option. Do you wish to reroll, or going to stick with what you got?
No, I'll stick with that.
Fair enough.
Oh,
Okay.
boy.
So
All of our best plans get
you're-
ruined by the same snake.
I wish Allison had taken him as a pet.
you guys are going along, and you're ducking behind trees, going behind things. Snake's over there kicking a can. Not
about
intentionally,
right.
just happens to kick a can. So you
No, I
guys
think
all
it was intentional.
could have been. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. You
I mean,
turn
Snake
around.
probably thinks that nobody can see him.
All right, see, but you know what? You guys are all hidden because he's kicking that can. So he is acting as your distraction.
Yes, and in the
Like, he's
meantime, Gray and I are
Snake's taking
completely
one for the
invisible.
team right now. Why can't you be all be more like Snake?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, Gray and I are completely invisible, so yeah.
Pretty much. So you follow along the path, and you come around, and you're getting your up. Let me grab the little dot if it lets. Now up to here, and coming around, you see. You stepped into you're stepping into a large industrial area. Most of the buildings, all but 2 buildings, have been completely flattened. Destroyed remnants of machinery, equipment scattered about here and there. One is a very large box-shaped building that has a massive radar array on top. The second one is a equally box-shaped building that's maybe 100 feet away from that one. No windows. You can see there's a solid set door down below. The radar array itself is, watch like a small section of it like hit the ground and impact, throwing up dust and debris. It's thoroughly trashed. There's no sign of the robots or the people.
And how far ahead were they?
Maybe about 10 minutes, probably maybe a little bit less than that. And you kind of stop, and you're all just looking around. You cross through an area of fencing, cyclone fencing that's been, just obliterated. And you're kind of looking around for, footprints. And see footprints follow them, go about 20 feet in front, and then just vanish. So and everybody's kind of just looking
Really
around,
strange.
you've all kind of scattered a little bit to kind of to go along and stand there, and you're not all standing out in the open, all obvious, as you're looking around, and so Snake, you're just walking along. You kind of watch everybody kind of like scatter, and you're looking down, and you're seeing that what everybody's staring at, and everybody's kind of just scattered for a moment to look around, and you feel a hand on the back of your on your shoulder, or some looking down, and just glance out the corner of your eye, you can see it's kind of like three three metal fingers.
I look at C2.
C2's not with us.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So I look at what this hand thing is.
I
know, right? Worst father ever.
So you do that, and you turn, you kind of just look over off to your side, and there's a rather large humanoid looking robot standing there. You can see it kind of just comes out of nothing to stand before you.
Does it look friendly or no?
Best picture, and I could have done a better one with this.
It's an Assaultron, isn't it?
Spoilers.
I'll do a better job with the robot.
Yep.
I know it's not.
She's not that chunky.
Yeah, I know. This one has a little bit of a weight issue, so but we
Yeah.
prefer not to bring that up, point that out to him.
She's just got a little
That's-
extra armor.
Yeah, little extra internal structure to work with.
Okay. So I look at her.
You can probably flirt with her, and she'll flirt back.
No, that's not what I'm going to do. I am going to grapple her and try to take her to the ground, all while
God.
yelling, "I found it! I found it!"
We're all doomed.
Can we get a grapple roll against Assaultron? Because that's going to be fun.
Time to re-roll your character, Snake.
Yep.
Hmm.
See what we can do.
It'd be time for all of us
Well,
to create new characters.
Assaultrons are usually pretty easy to take down, as long as you don't let them get close.
Well, this one's touching his shoulder, so
Or grapple.
Well, I mean, it's close to Snake, but to the rest of us, we got time to react. Exactly.
Run away.
it's a trap.
Let's see. Make a melee strength roll.
Melee weapon strength.
Yep.
Melee or unarmed?
Actually, yeah, you're right. Unarmed would do better.
Oh. Would it have made a difference? No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't have made a difference.
Potatoes, they're both tag skills and both at 6.
No, not tagged, and unarmed is 4, but it still would have made the roll.
Oh,
The
yeah,
11.
Yeah, yeah, I see it. Yeah.
I think I threw Phoenix for a loop. He wasn't expecting me to grapple it.
No, actually, I wasn't, so I didn't put that into the character sheet to actually do that. So let's see. Okay.
Huh.
Good job, Snake.
Oh,
Nice.
yeah.
How much? What does an Assaultron Claw do? Just remember, you could have solved this peacefully by flirting with her. Assaultrons love to flirt.
Hey there, baby. Do you have a little robot in you? Would you like some?
And for those of you out there, you can find it on OnlyFans at Sam and the Wasteland.
So you go along, and the robot allows you to take it down.
Does she like it?
Can we get a roll to see if she likes it?
I'm trying to picture what she would be thinking.
What would an Assaultron say
So,
if something
okay,
gravels it to the
okay.
ground?
She goes,
So
"Ooh."
you spin,
Does not
grab
compute.
her arm, and then bear her to the ground, straddling on her chest. And you can see the single eye start to glow at you and look at you, and it's looking at you and says, at least buy a lady a drink.
Ah.
You watch the other claw kind of reach out and grab you, and it hit on your chest and begins to up. And you see the Securitron, the one with the mono wheel, come rolling back. Now, Daisy, and you can see the face has changed. It's a black gentleman, there. Let's invite our guest inside, and I'm sure we can settle this all, easily enough. And the head turns and cocks and looks at the Securitron. It's like, as you wish, Joe.
Joe.
That's
Do we hear them call him Joe?
As in eat at Joe's?
yeah, as in the AI that we spoke to.
I like Joe.
Yeah, he was very friendly.
Was Snake even there when we were talking to Joe?
Yeah,
Before-
Snake was in.
Snake was the first person to talk to him. Snake was the one who told Joe about, you guys.
I remember now.
So I turn around and I go, Joe?
And he's like, Snake?
Oh. And I look back at the robot that I'm petting and I go, I think I will buy you a drink. And then I help her up.
Gag.
A robot could blush, she would. He stands, the Assaultron stands up and brushes some of the dirt off, and it's like, pats you on the cheek, or your helmet on the cheek, and walks away.
Oh.
And you can see Securitron kind of rolls around, looks at everybody, and goes behind everybody and kind of rolls back around and comes back. So glad
I
to see
wave.
Robot Claw comes up and waves at you. I'm so glad to see you all. I didn't think you would make it. He looks at you, Sam, and he's like, I'm sorry I could not give you better instructions on how to get here. But I had to let people find their way here on their own. If I told everybody where it was, have be piling bodies up like they were going out of style.
It'd be like the situation when we saw Mew Mew Mew, where there were bodies everywhere.
That was the crazies. They were, we could talk about that later. But yes. Please. And he steps back, and a section of the ground in front of you shifts to the side. And you can see that there, can't hear it, but you can see it. There looks like little dust devils whirling around, and you can see there's a set of stairs leading down into the ground. And he rolls over and he just one wheel at a time. He just bum 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 bum. It just heads on down the stairs.
Okay, I'll follow.
Yeah, might as well.
Last person goes through. You watch the panel slide over. You realize that the panel is probably about 4 inches thick, and it drops back into place. You find yourself in a well-lit corridor. Corridor itself has seen better days. There are signs of obvious disrepair that has gone on, but all the lights are lit. You roll down, and come up to a large metal door. It slides open. And as you're heading across, you're on a large catwalk. And you're looking down over to either side. You can see that there's people down there. There are people working, some sort of crops, some sort of garden area. There's a section where or taking apart various things, and they're kind of like sorting screws and bolts and nuts and so forth and so on. Then you're through the door to another spot, and he's heading down the corridor, and dingy white, but there's no trash on the ground or anything like that. But it's just you can tell that the place is operational, but not exactly well maintained. And you head to an elevator. Doors open up, and he turns and he rolls inside, and he's like, "Please come, follow me."
Oh, what is this place?
How's we going?
This is the annex. This was a COG oversight facility designed to maintain control and kind of. So if Vault-Tec built vaults, this would be a location where the vaults could be controlled from. It would be the overseer's overseer. Says with some pride.
Are you the overseer?
You could say that, yeah. That would be.
But you are.
That would be a good. That would be. And there's a pause, and the face kind of freezes for a moment. Yes, that would be a good. And it picks back up description of what I am, or at least what I try to still be.
Very
too many.
handsome Joe.
Thank you. He swivels and looks at you, and he's like, and he swivels back to the group. It's like, but he rolls out, and he goes maybe about 5 feet and then stops, and he's sitting there for maybe a minute or two, and then he starts rolling forward again, and he like, something's come up. I'm going to turn you over to one of the members of the senior staff. A gentleman, scientist, white cloak, white jacket, and everything like that, coming out. He's like, "This is Dr. Abernathy. I'm going to leave you in his capable hands. I need to go deal with something, but we'll talk later. I promise." And he comes over and he kind of clasps you on the shoulder. Think, it is so good to finally meet you. Thank you.
Likewise. It's nice to put a bolt to the voice.
He bobs slightly on his thing, and he's a big smile on his face. And you see the face go away, and you see the face that was on the Securitron, reappear, and the Securitron goes rolling down the corridor, goes off to the side. You see his middle-aged man, well dressed, hair combed back, full set of teeth, the important things. And he nods to each one of you and says, well, I don't know what Joe told you about the annex. We are 235 now. Living souls, living deep underground.
Why are you forced to stay here?
It's safer for us. You live on the surface. So you've seen everything that's going on, out there right now. What would you think would happen to us if we were now on the surface and it crazies attacked us?
And what weapons would you take with you?
Other than
Why is Hank the spokesperson for this conversation?
Let it roll.
we
Okay.
have, while we have robotic fenders, we're not exactly, a army underneath here.
What are
have-
you? What are you then?
Scientists, survivors.
What science do you do?
Well, additional research and development into, the various robots, finding ways to augment people to give them a better chance of, surviving, in the waste. Giving some people a new lease on life that would otherwise be, crippled or just, left to, die. So
Could you make me stronger?
looks at you. Perhaps. Tapping his chin. Maybe. Some of our research may prove to be worthwhile, but not perfected. That is the only problem.
I
But
only
the
know.
the more volunteers that we get, the better off that we are to find such a final solution.
I lean over to him and I say, "You enhance me too." You know what I mean.
Like, oh yes, let's get going.
Okay.
Good call.
So he brings you down, and there's a large, like a meeting area. You can see one of the young man that was brought in. He's talking with some other two other look like technicians. They're in like a jumpsuit, tools and everything like that, and they're going over stuff with them. Most people here have Pip Boys, which is the device that Sam has on his arm. And you can see that they're clothes are threadbare. Many of the light fixtures look like they've been removed. So it's only like the spot where the socket would go. But there does appear to be some there appears to be food. People appear to be getting along with each other. You're only there for moments, and two massive forms walk through from one end of a doorway, and then through the area out the other end. You're a bit taken aback. They appear to be super mutants.
Yeah.
The skin color is more of a alabaster white, and each one in the center, has one massive eyeball in the center of their head. These guys are armored. They some sort of combat armor, and you can see that they're carrying the same kind of power maul, shock maul, that the one crazy leader was using.
The
Look at
one
the,
that I've currently got with me.
yeah, I look at the guy and I say, I mean, you said you weren't fighters, but you'd be pretty safe from the crazies with those guys around.
Oh, you mean the Cyclops?
Yeah.
Yes, they are the. Sometimes disagreements occur, fights break out. They're the Annex's internal security force. And in a lower voice, he kind of leans over and says, "But not that many of them."
I mean, how'd you get them? They just wander in? Did you
Well, no, we
them?
grow them.
Really? Are they are they s- are they smart?
Or as a guard dog might be.
Do you ever lose any?
We did. We had a situation where tunnel rats managed to get through and overwhelm the enforcer there. He gave his life to make sure that the people that were in the area could get out. But you throw enough, and he gestures to the the guns and everything, that you throw enough bullets at something, or enough enough bodies at something, then you'll get through anything. I think the crazies are. And he stops. He's like, "What you call the crazies are individuals who are highly addicted to a certain set of chems, giving them beyond human strength, endurance, at the cost of them losing higher brain functions. All they want to do is, well, kill and eat." We know of, we know what's causing it to happen. We don't know where it's coming from. There are other, vaults and cog facilities scattered about. Could be coming from any one of those. We know it's happening south of here. That's the origin point. But what specific location? Most of the spots that we know of vaults and cog facilities are offline in that general area, or at least if they are online, they're not transmitting back to us. We have no control over what's going on there.
And you've never gone and checked?
Oh, well, we have. We have a base of operations at the Air Force Base outside of St. Louis, but they can only spare so much of their troops to go engage, and the crazy's busy. They're dealing with another threat within within the capital of St. Louis. That is equally as bad. The crazies, at least we understand what's causing them. We just need to find how to stop them.
So
Here, let me show you. And he takes you into another room, and he walks in. It's like, this is what I've been researching, what I've been looking into. And inside a massive, it would look like the cabinet that you would, like, people who collect, like, insects would pin like an insect to. But so it's a large glass case. The robotic arms moving about the body, but you see a creature maybe 9 feet tall. In is featureless. meaning there doesn't appear to be any pores. It doesn't appear to have any air. Nothing. The head is there, but there's no openings whatsoever. No spot for an eye socket, ears, anything like that. Hands end in massive claws. Talons extend off, probably a good 4 to 6 inches past, where the fingernail, where that joint would end. No fine manipulation. This it is a killing machine. There's something, a sense of horror, or dread that the thing just emanates. Skin is alabaster white, also, just like the Cyclops, and see that there are spots where watch one of the robots come over and with a ripper blade lay the claw into it, lay the blade into it. You see blood splattering everywhere, and they sever a large chunk out of the body, and you can watch the musculature kind of start to knit itself back together. It takes and he's like, they're trying to contain in St. Louis. It takes a lot of firepower to bring them down and keep them down. There aren't many, but they're wreaking absolute. But 1 or 2 of these, and this points at that, and this is the male, and he points at
gender.
Oh yes. And he points at the wall, and you can see pinned to the wall are 2 massive white wings.
Wings?
Wings, yes.
Okay.
The males are capable of flight. They fight and maneuver by some sort of their skulls produce sounds. Those sounds they're able to translate somehow into images, and they're able to maneuver that way. And he reaches over and he hits a button. 4 prongs come out of one of the robotic arms and jam itself into the side of the creature's neck, and you can see a pulse of electricity, kind of just jolt through it. Watch the facial area open up. You can see just where the mouth jaw area would be, just a massive amount of just teeth, kind of like a shark. It's rows upon rows, but they actually, they're more like they whirl, so they grind. See a separate section in the head pop open, and doesn't look like anything. That if this thing was alive, it did what it did now, it would have emitted a blast of sound that would have shattered eardrums, and it has the potential to even crumple concrete. We call them sirens. The females are smaller than this, but bigger, if that makes sense. This, the creature describes 9 feet tall, all massive muscle, but no muscular features. There's no 6-pack. There's no defining anything other than this this form. The females are bulkier, smaller. If they're closer to the ground, they move on all 4s, but they are capable of bursts of speed that I saw footage of one of them chase down a through the power armor using a jetpack to get away, and it caught it before it made it back to the ground. The pilot detonated its core and took it and the female out at the same time. They reproduce slowly, but they do reproduce. This is what we've been looking into. This is what we've been working on, trying to find a way. And he points, that is dead. Yep, he gestures to the arm. Give it a couple hours, and that thing will be as good as new.
Damn.
But what we managed to research points over to the one of the two Cyclops that are standing in the room. We managed to make improvements to the super mutant strain that exists within the wasteland.
Really think that's a good idea.
And he looks and he's kind of beaming with pride as he's talking to you. And apparently Sam is willing to give the guy good money to lobotomize Snake. Allie Sue says she'll share stuff within her bosom. Oh, you guys are
Pay
so
for
nice
the
to him.
lobotomy with the capture.
Oh! You're not going to share your bosom. Oh, okay.
Yeah, only
And she'll
if
share
you,
the caps that
only if I like you.
are in her bosom for Snake.
I mean, there might be enhancements there for storing more.
Yes, it could be. Could be.
Oh, in that case,
Can they give him a brain?
only a brain.
If I only had a brain. So he turns to you and says, "If we don't do this, and those things, spawn and spread, we're all doomed." So, but enough about this. I'm sure you didn't come to see all this. I will plead our case with you, though. I know from what Joe has told me, the Mew 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 facility is gone. Overseer Kavanaugh has perished, and the crazies have pretty much, wiped out a large portion of the survivors that are there. I'm hoping that you've managed, to rescue Overseer Kavanaugh's children, and that's why you're here, to bring them in. Is that correct?
I'm going to ask him why they take people from the human camp just southeast of here.
Twofold. We do that because we do need. You have to keep, the bloodlines, the gene pool here flush. So fresh blood, new people. We try to keep the people that come in are the scientists, the people with technical skills. We try to grow that so we can keep the line, keep this facility going. We are in bad shape. I might be in trouble for telling you this. We need supplies. We screws, nuts, bolts, wires, chemistry glassware, anything we can get our hands on. To keep this place running, up and running. We don't trade with the outside world, so we rely upon the people that come here to to gather materials and bring stuff in for us. And the other part is to see those who are. Not everyone is capable of, and he points at Snake, as he asked, capable of enhancements. So, who we can get. get a hold of them, we bring them in. Offer them the options if they have family and such. To offer them if they have family and such to bring them in too, to see about going along and doing what we can to make their lives a little bit better.
Buddy was moved out of your channel.
That was me. I'm sorry, Addie.
Why did you
Buddy
do that?
joined your channel.
I'm sorry, Addie.
I thought it was. I was gonna say that was rude.
No, that was my fault. I was
I
just
forgive
wiping
you.
my screen off. So some people help to further the research that go on here. You may have noticed that a lot of people in the camp have suffered wounds or loss of a limb or eyesight or whatever the case might be. So we see what we can do to help them regain that limb, regain that eyesight. Yes, it is a risk, a gamble. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
So many
So
questions.
if you have anything that you can trade or share with us, we would be most grateful. We can trade knowledge. That's what we have, in abundance here. You're asking for, soldiers. No, that's stuff that we can learn. Stuff that we can't, we can't provide, but it's stuff we can share, we can learn. We continue to bring our weapons systems online. The turrets that are protecting the people there. Can't do much with the super mutants that are in the encampment, but as long as they wish to remain, they are no threat to anybody there.
What about that?
Kind of entertaining.
What about that woman with the super mutants?
Goldilocks.
No, Goldilocks was one of the super mutants. He's talking about the ringleader.
Allison, yes.
Allison.
What about her?
Do you ever work with her?
No. As I mentioned, we can't do anything with. We can't change what already exists. We can create a new, but we can't go along and change anything with the super mutants. No.
Can you make weapons or armor?
We have a limited amount of fabrication capability, so we can make repairs to existing stuff. We can augment some of the weapons that are there. He kind of gestures over towards Sam. Said, most of the stuff that probably he's carrying, we could probably, fix and repair for him. But to manufacture, a brand new M1 Garand, no, we couldn't do that. But manufacturing a new, laser rifle, give us enough parts, enough tools, we could do that. He kind of points at he's gestures towards Saval, and that would we make a weapon such as what he's? Maybe if we had somebody specialized as a sniper. But we can augment the weapons that you have, yes. We can make improvements to what you have, yes.
Might take him up on that.
You provide us the parts, and I'm sure somewhere we have information that we can go along to do that. If you're asking me, procure for you a suit of power armor, no. Could I tell you where to find a suit of power armor? And bring it, and you can bring it back here to get it functional? Yes. So, I have no problem, unless Joe tells me otherwise, I have no problem going along and saying, hey, we can do this for you. But you need to offer something in return beside, bringing in, Phoebe and Teresa here.
I think we can arrange something. But in the meantime, the main thing is getting Phoebe and Teresa here. And the other survivors we found.
And he kind of stops. He's like, "Excuse me? Other survivors?"
Yeah, so we'll fill him in on the other survivors we found. Becca, the men.
Well, remember from the women camp, Phoebe and Teresa were the only ones who were actually from a COG facility. I say that out of character.
Yeah, so we can fill him in on how we found them, and I'll share with him that Becca is a woman that took care of them while they were being held hostage. And I wouldn't recommend separating them. Yeah, but ultimately it'll be up to Becca.
No problem. But you found survivors from the Mew facility. That is, definitely good news. Good. That's definitely good news. Technical staff and valuable individuals such as that are a highly sought after.
Do we tell them about the technical staff, about what happened to them, the surviving technical staff? I mean, he's going to fit. Yeah, he's going to find out about it eventually. That most of the people that are there are maintenance personnel.
Yeah.
In that case, I fill him in and I tell him that the technical staff were sorted out by the crazies and removed from the group. The survivors we found are primarily maintenance staff.
Okay.
We are unsure where they were taking them to. We do know that they have functional vehicles, though.
Okay, so he stops and he scrabbling stuff in a notepad, and he's like, "Okay, so based upon that, how many people overall do you think were there?"
Phoenix, do you have that number for us?
He does. I do. So there was only three females, kids, and then out of the group that was taken, 10 were taken away. So 22. 22, 20, 25 total adults and 2 children.
Got it. Then I guess that's what we're going to relay to him.
Okay. As you say that, and he's like, okay. We would need supplies. Bring them all in here. But I don't see. I can talk to Joe and the other members of the council.
Yeah.
About that. As I said, crafting materials of any shape or sort that you're willing to share are key.
We do have some items that we'd be willing to trade and would be willing to part with to assist you, but we don't have that on us right this instant.
Fair enough.
Our primary goal was to scout out the area, find you guys, and then bring the survivors here.
So how long would it take you to get everybody here?
I look at great for that.
Um,
And
Yeah,
I'm
they're
assuming
all
that you're
in-
going to provide that information, Phoenix.
yeah, they're all in Addyville, right? So whatever, we'd have to get there and come back. Yeah.
Yeah, it was 10 days. Well, let's see. Yeah, it was 10 days to get from the Eville to here. So I figured, 20 days, and that's stopping off at the FUD store to get a hold of more FUD.
Could the COG facility help us with more FUD?
He stops and he looks at you and he nods. It's like, we'll be able to do that. We don't have a too much of a surplus,
Anything would help.
but we should be able to give you some food that we've processed.
Thank you.
Okay.
He and you guys have been, after he took you from the lab and he took you over to the other spot, and he stops and he's like, I'm going to leave you in this room here. You see, it's a central living area, and there's 4 bedrooms leading off from the central area. Lights still work. Water is working as of right now. So please, rest, clean up. I need to talk to Joe and then see what else he can, what the recommendation of the council is, and I can get back to you.
Okay.
But it sounds like you guys getting here actually is giving us a chance, or at least a better chance than what we had without you. You have no further questions of me, and he's kind of looking at, looks over at Miss Gray.
No, I don't think we have anything else at the moment.
Daddy, he takes his leave. Looking around, the room that you're in is it's an off-white linoleum floor. There's a couch, large TV set, and end tables, lamps in the room that you're in. There's a chest set off to one side on one of the side. Like a kitchen table, linoleum kitchen table. The rooms are simple. Double beds. There is a central shower, bathroom. Showers have stalls, so, not standing out in the middle of a trough, with the water running down you type of deal. So, guys, a chance to relax and rest up.
Thank you.
No problem. It is, and I know it's after 11, so we'll wind down at this point.
We are coming to a good stopping point, I think.
Yeah. So it is morning of the next day. One thing you guys realize, you are locked in. So the door does not open. The simple, up, down, open, closed on the latch respond. At least in the main room, there is a camera. In the corner above the corner by the door, and the corner, in the opposite corner, just looking into the room. So, Sam, I'm sure if you put your mind to it, you could have the cover off and the door open.
I'm not going to do that at the moment because we don't have any reason to distrust them.
Okay.
Right, that as well.
And the other thing is there's actually, the TV is the Indian, so there's nothing on the TV. There's a phone in the room. Does have dial tone.
Ooh, we can call Joe.
You can call Joe. Yep. Or you can check about your insurance.
I've been
See if you-
wondering
see if
about
those
that.
see if those claims are paying off.
Hmm.
Or order. You know what? Never thought about that. So, yep, you could order a pizza. The water is warm and clean. There are towels there that you can, get yourself up with, and we'll bring the clothes to the night. The door opens up in the morning. Abernathy's there. There are two other individuals, a portly, bispokal gentleman and a younger woman. The woman is, dressed as, she has a more, military vibe to her. Light padded armor. She has an energy weapon of some sort strapped to her hip. And the man is obviously a technician or, of some sort. Just by appearances and the like. That this episode of As the Wasteland Burns comes to a close.
Fine.
This broadcast of As the Wasteland Burns was brought to you by Galaxy News Radio and our sponsor at Voltec. Better living underground, now with extra butt plugs.
Hey,